Program is sponsored by The Greek, Ely's Radio Shack dealer at 570 Altman in downtown Ely, and brought to you as a public service by Georgetown Media in Ely, Nevada. Ely Municipal Utility Board meeting, April 14th, 2022.
Utility Board, please follow me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Vice Chairman Durbridge.
Present.
Member Ross.
Here.
Member Marquez. Here. Chairman O'Flaherty is absent today. Member Rivera is absent today. Councilman Carson.
Good morning.
Councilman Spear.
Here.
City Clerk Lee. Here. City Treasurer, HR Director Trask. Here. City Engineer Almer.
Here.
City Attorney Cahoon.
Here.
City Public Works Supervisor Craycraft.
Here.
And that's all.
Thank you. We'll move to public comment. Comments not exceeding 3 minutes in length will be accepted from the general public in attendance. If any are made, there may be discussion upon these comments. No vote, decision, or action may be taken upon matters raised under this item until it's formally placed on the agenda. Comments during discussion item will not be accepted from the general public. Section 7.05 of the Nevada Open Meeting Law Manual indicates that a public body may prohibit comment if the contents of the comment is a topic that is not relevant to or within the authority of the public body, or if the content of the comments is willfully disruptive of the meeting by being irrelevant, repetitious, slanderous, offensive, inflammatory, irrational, or amounting to personal attacks or interfering with the rights of other speakers. That being said, do we have any public comment? George.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, on your agenda item 3C1, you're to consider the bid award for Murray Street main upgrade project phase 3. I'm asking again, as I've asked, phase 1 and 2, has the city ever noticed now meter power that they have to relocate some of their power poles to accommodate for proper ADA access to sidewalks along the project? This is new construction, is mandated to meet minimum ADA requirements. Your engineer, your city building inspector, and city clerk appear to have failed to do their due diligence. Again, those that can't do their job have got to go. We have to comply with federal regulations. Mr. Chairman, the building on my property at 490 High Street has not been corrected to date. I pay my proper fees monthly, unlike the sweetheart owner at 790 Avenue I, who received a $4,000 write-off even though all utilities were used for a 7-year period or more. I want equal protection under the law. Jennifer Lee claimed she knew the books when she interviewed for the city clerk's position. It appears she misled everybody. We need to correct that. Mr. Chairman, I've asked at the last meeting, and I'm asking again, has the golf course caught up on the previous bill? If not, we need to address that. I've not seen anything on your agenda. Federal law prohibits the discrimination providing any federally funded or assisted public utility. I remind you the golf course is a luxury, not a necessity. Mr. Chairman, the NDOT project around the creek in Central Ely, again, is put in barbed wire, which is against city code that has yet to be addressed, not on your agenda or anywhere else. You've noticed other people in regards to proper fencing, and in particular barbed wire. This is a project that affects poor income families in that area. You have a lot of kids in that area playing around the creek. That fence has to be addressed. Mr. Chairman, recently my brother was cited by your building inspector for property he owns at 842 East Altman. The family has a game room in their garage, and my brother was cited for sewer and water. You don't have to have sewer and water to have a game room in a garage or anywhere else. I want to remind you on numerous occasions I brought before you folks, trailers set up throughout this community, hooked up to power, people living in them. I want to know, are they paying the fees? This particular RV is right across from Mr. Carson and Mr. Howard. And then you come after me and my family? I can't rent my lots.
Thank you, George.
I want some answers and I want equal protection under the law, Mr. Chair.
Move on to
Sorry
item.
to discrimination.
We have one more public comment. To Utility Board and Ely City Council in regards to Mineral Heights billing, water surcharge, improvement surcharge, and capital improvement fees. Dear Utility Board members and Ely City Council, I have attached a copy of my latest utility bill. This past month, the water surcharge and an improvement surcharge were added to my bill. After speaking with City of Ely staff, it was determined these fees are charged to only residents in the Mineral Heights area for a water tank that was placed in the area in the 90s and improvements. I am already billed a water and sewer capital improvement fee. Why does this not cover capital improvements in the Mineral Heights area? When or if an improvement is made to another area of town that I do not benefit from, will those residents be singled out and made to pay for infrastructure that only they benefit from? And if so, what is the regular capital improvement fee for? I have considered that the creation of the capital improvement fee may have come after the surcharge already in place to Mineral Heights and therefore was not considered, or possibly overlooked when establishing those improvement fees to
Recording in progress.
When this tank is paid for, will these fees drop from my bill? If residents have been paying for this tank since the 90s, at what point is the tank paid off and Mineral Heights residents see a reduction in this fee? What is the current balance for this water surcharge and improvement surcharge? Does all this money go into the general fund and we have commingling of funds? I'm asking the Utility Board and the Ely City Council to please review this. I would like to have a better understanding as to why it is fair to handle this specific improvement this way. Mineral Heights residents are paying for improvements in their area while also paying into a separate capital improvement fund for the rest of the system. Whether they benefit from said improvement or not, to my knowledge, no other resident pays an additional surcharge for improvements. I appreciate your time in reviewing and considering my concern, and I will respect any decision the board makes on the matter going forward. Kind regards, Amy Garcia.
If there's nothing else, we'll move on to items for discussion. Consent agenda. These items may be approved in one motion by the board as its first action of business under for discussion and possible action. Approval is consent agenda approves each of the items. The only item we have is the March 10th, 2022 minutes.
I wasn't here.
You weren't here, so we can do this with just the two of us that were here by you attesting to the minutes.
Correct.
So,
Patty does need to state on the record that she listened to the recording and that the minutes are an accurate transcription.
I, Administrative Assistant Patty Cobb, do attest that the March 10th, 2022 minutes are correct by listening to the audio that was provided after the meeting.
we have a motion for the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second. All in favor? Aye, opposed? And so the motion carries. Move on to BO business, Robinson, Nevada mine. Do we have a letter from
Yes,
Fred?
I do. So this is from Frederick Tate, it was sent this morning. I will not be able to attend tomorrow's utility board meeting. I am by this email providing you an update on old business. Item E1, roof pit development and water mitigation efforts within the city of Ely. Robinson continued to mine from the roof pit complex. Here is a breakdown of
Turn up the
freshwater
volume.
dewatering effort from the south block. About 8,935 gallons per minute being pumped. 5,332 gallons per minute is going into Gleason Creek, and the rest is going to the mill for ore processing. The Bureau of Safe Drinking Water has approved the temporary pump motor and accessories for RW7P. Robinson has issued a purchase order, and we expect a 6-week lead time for the pump motor and accessories to arrive. We will also schedule
Questions or comments? If not, we'll move on to new business. C, board members, city engineer Palmer, discussion for the possible action, recommendation on bid award for Murray Street sewer main upgrade project phase CDBG funded project. CJ.
Good morning.
Morning.
We received bids earlier this week on this project. We've actually had 4 contractors pick up bids, but unfortunately only 1 contractor actually turned in a bid. That bid that they turned in was for $415,193.10. Everything that was required as a part of the bid was included in the bid. So the concern that we have, or the one question you want to raise to you is this is a CDBG funded project, and so our funds that we have put together for, based on our grant funding and such associated with this was $349,500. So the bid is actually $65,693.10 over what we had coming through the grant. We do have the funding in place that we would be able to proceed with this project as is, with the city providing the difference for that cost there. So it is available for award at this price based on our coordination with the treasurer's office. And then the only other thing that I have to say is in the bid documents, there is a paragraph in the bid documents that says the low bid shall be considered to be that bid which has the lowest total cost of the bid item selected by the owner based upon available funding for the inclusion in the final agreement rather than the total cost of all bid items prior to the elimination of various deductible bid items. And so it is an option, but it doesn't necessarily sound like we have to take that option at this point in time, that we do have the funding to go ahead and complete all of this project. And just to help clarify some of the things, the reason that this is actually bid higher is dealing through the last project, we had some issues with some of these valves are basically not functioning. And so we decided to include in this next phase to upgrade some of our existing water valves associated with this project. And so this, taking the price over is based on increasing some of these water things that are to the benefit of our water system. And so that's where we are. So, any questions?
If you increase putting the new valves in, is it cost, it has to be cost effective, better to do it now than wait until they break?
Oh, I agree, yeah. It is. I support that. It's a situation. The reason that we're doing it is because when we're down there working on the last phase, we're trying to turn water valves off and stuff. They're just not functioning. And so it is to the benefit of the city to put it in now. And yes, now is cheaper than later.
Will that extend the time of the project, or does that make it more?
No, it doesn't extend the time of the project. The time frame is a part of the project if they bid everything on this.
What is the time frame on
Our anticipation is that we'll get working, obviously based on this, if we get awarded through you guys today and city council tonight, we'll start the paperwork right away to get their bids in place, not their bids, but their bonds in place, contracts signed, everything taken care of. So we anticipate we would start the first week in May, basically by the time we get everything together. So we start. I guess there could be some delay time in there. I haven't talked to the contractor as far as the availability of materials. There could be delay materials.
You said May, but yet haven't we put it in next year's budget? It wasn't presented to me as this fiscal year's.
Well, the city's match is in this fiscal year's budget.
You people need to speak up.
But the water one wasn't. I was under the impression
But-
that was for next
But,
fiscal year.
now, BJ, do you anticipate the project?
The project will be going past the
Yes,
fiscal date.
yes, yes.
Yeah, I mean, they ain't gonna get it done before the fiscal year, right?
So
And so,
when's
I
it-
believe it's 90 days, so I'm gonna say, I believe it's the end of July.
So, any other questions of BJ? Questions, concerns? we have a motion on this?
I'll motion. Still frozen.
To approve, yes,
I'll
second.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, none?
Alright, thank
Thank
you.
you.
And for the record, I do want to say that the contract, after we got our bid documents on Monday or whatever, we did take it through CDBG, and the contractor did come back and they were debarred, and everything is good to go as far as CDBG is concerned with this contractor.
Thank you, BJ. Number 2, city attorney,
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman.
oh, forgot, public comment.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, the copy of the contract isn't in the packet, and I'd like to have a copy of that to review. Also, the volume needs to be turned up. You can't hear some of these people. The open meeting law is specific about those that may be impaired with hearing. I'm not, but people phase in and out. You've got microphones. You've paid a lot of money for this system, and it's not being used properly. Thank you.
Now we'll move on to new business 2. Discussion for possible action, recommendation to temporary hold in abeyance pending resolution of litigation, assessment of gate fees for residential and commercial waste, not to include class 3 waste, which includes but is not limited to construction, concrete, and/or asphalt waste, collected and delivered by Ely Disposal Service Incorporated Nevada Corporation with continued waste measurements and recording of fees.
Any questions?
So what's the lawsuit?
Well, there's not much I can say about it, just that it's regarding the landfill and gate fees going through, and that this agenda item is anticipation of a court order barring us from charging gate fees to EDS.
So any questions from the board?
I guess how did that come about?
The lawsuit, or
What started this whole
process? So there's just an issue with how the city is charging the gate fees with regard to EDS. And so we've gone to court, which is public record, and the court hasn't given an official order yet on an injunction for the city to stop charging these gate fees, but the city's currently working on trying to change the way that we charge the gate fees, and so this is sort of in anticipation for that. I don't know if that answers your question.
When is this court decision supposed to be made?
It could be any time now. There was a hearing back on, I think it was March 15th, where the Judge Zabriskie essentially was asking questions with regard to the financials regarding the gate fees. But based on the hearing and what was said, it's anticipated that the city will probably need to quit charging those gate fees to EDS.
We have no specifics until after that decision.
Correct. But I think, this agenda item is in anticipation for that. I think it's a strategic move for the city to do that, because if we continue to charge the gate fees and an injunction or an order requiring the city to pay back those gate fees is brought down, then obviously that number of damages will be increased based on our continued charging of EDS. And this is a temporary solution that the city is currently working on, trying to fix the problem so that we can continue the assessments.
So no more questions, we have a motion. So basically, you're looking for a motion just to approve this temporary hold.
Yeah, it's intended to be temporary.
Does the city recover, if this doesn't go through, does the city recover any of those fees that were not collected?
And that is why, at the very end of the agenda item, it says with continued waste measurement and recording of fees. So the city will continue to lay EDS and record what we are to be charging them. We just won't be sending a bill, so that if the court were to decide another way that we could, down the road, still seek those charges that we've been recorded.
Yeah, I'll, motion to approve.
And I'll second.
Motion approved, second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? None. Thank you. We'll move on to department reports. Terry, you have anything?
Nothing, sir.
I don't have anything. Councilman Carson?
No report?
Public Works Supervisor? Nothing. City Water Operator? Water Sewer Lead Man? Landfill Lead Man? City Clerk?
City Engineer Albert and our Public Works Supervisor did a great job during the presentation yesterday from the city. As a grant administrator, I had to help with them. Under presentation meeting rules, but we should hear in the next few days whether we get one of those two grants. Yes.
City Attorney?
Or-
City Treasurer? City Engineer? BJ?
Big thing that we've been dealing with is our core group, trying to get some earmark funding or whatever. Obviously, we were successful, last round with one. It's been a busy week because this is the final week that everything is turned into the senators and congressmen this week. And so we're working diligently to finalize them. And so we should have all our paperwork in to them for our 4 earmark requests on behalf of the city. That's just been very time consuming and what we're doing, and also generally talked about CUG presentation yesterday. So, questions?
Thanks. Public comment? George?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, nothing to date has been done in regards to the sewer connections on the family lots on Great Basin Boulevard. Both connections are on the lower lot. Your code says your sewer connection is in front of your property, not next door, not down the street. I want equal protection under the law. Nothing has been done to reimburse my brother for the damage done at 745 Great Basin Boulevard, where Q&D damaged the water shut-off valve. John paid to have it repaired. We want equal protection under the law. They broke it. New meter pits are supposed to be put in along the project. Wasn't done. I didn't get one on my property on the lower end. Can't remember if it was 733 or 729. One was put in, the other one wasn't, because when I asked the contractor why wasn't it done, he said Basin Engineering said not to do it. I don't want to hear that. I want equal protection under the law. I don't care who likes me, I don't care who doesn't like me. The project said all new services. I didn't get that. I want equal consideration. Mr. Chairman, I've asked in the past for a full list of those RVs that have been permitted throughout the community. I've yet to receive that. I want to know if they paid utility fees. I got charged an extra utility fee on a property I own when an individual was visiting that renter. All charged me another water fee, sewer fee, landfill fee, and yet here we have all these just setting up. What is it, just a George problem? I want my money back, or I want these corrected. Jennifer Lee needs to start doing her job. She may not know everything, but when she's noticed, she needs to perform, not just her, but the rest of the staff as well. Mr. Chairman, I've asked in the past, or I've reported in the past, storm drain is yet to be installed at the bottom of 7th Street where it intersects with Avenue C. You're going to lose a good street there. Brand new project, all that water coming off of Great Basin down 7th or Great Basin Extension, whatever you want to call it, all for nothing. Mr. Chairman, I've asked in the past, and I'm asking again if the utility board has collected for water sewer services from the historical railroad when they owned the White Pine Trailer Park. I want to know if it was tens of thousands of dollars or if anything at all has been corrected. Mr. Chairman, I've asked in the past and I'm asking again if the city has collected in full for the utility buildings at the Garnet Mercantile when they had the old bank building, which is now known as the Art Bank. These concerns are years old, I want some answers. The open meeting law says 5 days, not 5
Other
years.
public comment? When's the next meeting?
May 12th.
May 12th. Other business, we're adjourned. Until I call 30.
Yeah, yeah, I want to say. You did good. Thanks.
This has been a Georgetown production. George Chachis reporting.